This news is about to change your lives forever.
Love spells with Avon, men tell all, fantasy suites, and Rachel as the last woman standing. Hey guys, and welcome back to another shared news. We have a preview for the next 2 weeks of The Bachelorette, but before we get into it, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on any future videos. I'm Allison Van Dam, joined today by Morgan Wright and Kayla Thompson. Ladies, based on this teaser for not only next week, but the week after, what moment are you most excited to see and discuss today?
Oh my gosh, that's a hard question. I will say the one that sticks out to me the most is, Jesse very stoically telling Rachel that you're going to be the only person here today. I mean, I thought we all were a little caught off guard by that. So wondering what's going to go down there.
For me, it's probably that. And also the fact that someone tells Gabby some type of, I can't love you, I can't make it to the end with you, something. I don't know what's going on with that, but I'm like on the edge of my seat.
Alrighty, well, let's just jump into this teaser trailer preview and watch our first clip.
I gotta tell you about my famous love spell. I could do it for you if you like.
Rachel visits Avon's hometown, where they feel the magic.
Is that bad?
So, Morgan, my question to you is, why do you think Avon was the only one kind of left over from last week, or kind of cut out of last week, shoved into the week after? And do you think, him being the only one not included in last week's episode is a good or bad sign for, the finale, for him being the final rose pick?
I think bad sign. I think any front runner, they're not going to, leave to a whole nother episode. We didn't see Avon one single time. I feel like the only, real scene that I can even remember between Avon and Rachel was at the football stadium, and everything else has been, kind of all over the place. I know that we have been saying that because there are two leads, we haven't really gotten to see any of the relationships. I feel like Avon in particular is one that we really have not gotten to see. And like I said, if he was a front runner, I think he would have been on last week's episode.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think the reason that I always had him in the back of my mind is because we did have, those leaked photos from hometown dates. So we knew from the get-go that he was going to reach, her top 4. But unless we had known about those leaked photos or him getting to hometowns, there was not an indication throughout this entire season that he would be a front runner. I think all of us have been kind of thinking it's going to be Tino for a while now. We've seen a connection with Zach. So I'm with you. It's definitely ominous, and I'm worried for Avon's future because I don't think it's a good sign either. And Kayla, do you believe in these spells, these love spells? Are you into all the juju? And would you take the table falling over as a bad omen for your relationship?
So I'm actually from Boston. So, I'm aware of, Salem, and there are real witches and things like that. I personally don't mess with that. I'm like, I'm all good. So I don't really believe in all of that. Yeah, it just scares me. So I would be like in between, trying to convince myself that I don't believe in all that. Like, it's going to be fine. And then also kind of being like, maybe that is a sign this is not it, So,
yeah. Suddenly you got a broken table on your hands and you're forced to think about what that means for you and your future.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So let's take a look at our next clip, because Avon's hometown is not the most dramatic or pivotal moment of next week's episode.
Welcome to what promises to be a dramatic and shocking Men Tell All. All of your favorite men from the season are back.
I mean, the fact that we are already at the Men Tell All, I feel like we just started this season like 2 days ago. And that's what everyone's been saying with 2 Bachelorettes. There's not enough time. We've not really seen, long enough scenes with these guys. But it is crazy to see, the Nates and the Meatballs and even the Tylers. He was the one who went home last week, or, was sent home from the boardwalk in tears. So what are your initial
Right.
quick thoughts about Men Tell All? Are you excited, or are you kind of like a skip through Men Tell All? This is just a filler episode. Morgan, why don't you go first?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not thrilled about the Men Tell All. I mean, obviously after the final rose is way better. I just feel like because of what we've already said before in this panel, we don't know the guys. We didn't really get to know them. We didn't really see a whole lot of drama. Of course, we saw some. It's the Bachelorette, like comes with the territory. I will say, obviously, there's been a lot of stuff go down with Nate while this is airing. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. Ethan has emerged as a fan favorite online after he got eliminated. So I am also interested to see, what goes down with him. But other than that, there's nothing really at the Men Tell All that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah.
Kayla, how about you?
Yeah, I was going to say, could not agree more. I am a skip Men Tell All every year. I don't actually skip it because I can't, I have to watch it. Like, I want to know, but I'm always like, oh, fine, press play, unless, cause either they're drumming up drama that I don't care about, like last, I think with, what was it, Katie's season or Michelle's season with like the pizza guy and the other dude didn't like each other. I'm like, I don't even care. Like, why are we doing this? But I agree with Morgan. I think Nate having maybe a platform to explain himself and maybe the controversy, because we've seen a lot of the, Mike Fleiss and, even Gabby and Rachel before, like even this week, they've been kind of promoting for this episode and already talking about Nate and kind of defending him. So I'm most excited to see that. But, and, some of the guys are going to do their, Bachelor in Paradise, kind of trying to get their little 15 seconds. But yeah.
Totally. And I think it's always funny because the people who don't have a lot to say, just like you said, Kayla, use it as kind of an audition time, like their last chance to be on America's screens and really just like shoot their shot for Paradise or, brand deals or anything like that. I want to hear from Nate as well, but I could do without the drama. I mean, we'll see later in this. Of course, they make a big deal with meatball and marinara sauce. Like it's that kind of stuff. Just like the pizza of it all. Like, I don't really need to see this. These guys are never going to see each other again. There is no drama. There's really not that much beef. Like, we're not locking them up in a house again. So let's just move on, just as we're going to move on into this preview.
Nice.
Your chance. Have some respect for the guys that were there.
And they're ready to talk smack.
You did me wrong.
All of that is like...
I guess I like girls that are rough around the edges. I love...
Ooh. Alrighty. So first we have Ethan saying, you had your chance. Have some respect for the guys who were there. So Morgan, who do you think he's talking to? And as you mentioned, he's emerged as a fan favorite. Do you think we'll see Ethan in Paradise?
I think he's talking to Roby. I heard a lot of things online saying that Roby was really the pot stirrer of the Men Tell All, and he went home night one. So it would make perfect sense for Ethan to say, let's actually save it for the people that were there, because he quite literally was not there at all. I don't know. I really do want to see Ethan for Bachelor. I know a lot of people are campaigning for him right now. I feel like out of the guys that are kind of available, he's definitely a front runner. So I want to say, yes, I want to see him on Bachelor in Paradise, but I want to see him as Bachelor more.
I am kind of right there with you. I honestly, if Ethan's Bachelor, I might have to shoot my shot and send in a little application because that man is cute.
Okay. He's so cute.
Kayla, we also see Mario say, you did me wrong. And then right afterwards, Gabby responds, all of that is just BS. Now, we know Bachelor loves to do editing and, make it seem like conversations are happening that aren't. So we really don't know if Gabby's response of all of that is just BS is in response to Mario. So I think we can't talk about that as if it is a response, because that could be to Roby for all we know, or the twins. Who knows? But, how would Gabby have done Mario wrong in his mind? Is it because he got the first impression rose but didn't make it that far?
Yeah.
Did he think he was kind of a shoo-in? Like, I'm like, what does he mean by that? If you did me wrong?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's where my brain goes to, Allison, is like, he got the first impression rose. And after that, like, I don't even think I saw him I don't remember him talking to Gabby after that. So it was very much like, is she giving him a chance? But then again, I think that this season is like, I don't know. The timing with everyone is just off. Like, a lot of people aren't getting as much time. So that argument is a little like weak to me. But maybe to me, I think maybe it's a joke. Like maybe he kind of like made a joke of him having the first impression rose and then it not, growing into anything. So, because he seems like that kind of a guy, like jokester, makes her laugh, really easygoing.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine him being seriously upset. So I think he's probably just messing around with her. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that conversation goes. It inherently doesn't seem that serious because he's still on the bar stool. I feel like anytime they really want to unpack something, they bring them over to the couches. So we'll see. And I'll be interested to see if she really is saying that to Mario or saying, that's all BS to someone else. And then this clip ended, and I'm sure it'll transition into the next clip we're going to watch with Spencer saying that he loves Gabby, which feels like a proclamation. And he says, he loves girls that are rough around the edges, which is a direct call out to Hayden, who said that, to Gabby and tried to defend himself. But I don't see any sort of reaction clip or any clip of Hayden speaking. So does anyone know, was he there? Is he going to be brought out dramatically? Where is Hayden? And where is Rambo?
I haven't seen anything about him being there.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't think he's there. I don't see him at all. Like even in the wide shots, I don't think he showed up.
Yeah.
So,
and it's one of those things
where
it could have been
like Thomas. Sorry.
Redemption. I don't know. It could be a chance for redemption, but it could also, he could look just as bad as he did on the show. So maybe he's, just backing away and leaving it as is. Prayers for Rambo. All right. Let's move on to the next clip.
Meatball, our savior.
If you think you know what happens, guess again.
So now we're hearing Meatball, our savior. I don't know how Meatball is a savior other than I guess maybe telling Rachel what Hayden said behind the scenes. Is he a savior? He definitely had a saving grace moment where he was kicked off and brought back on the cruise ship. And then we have him getting marinara sauce dumped on him. This feels like a Bachelor in Paradise intro audition to me. I have so many questions about this man in the pink sweater. Where is he coming from? Where is he going? I don't know. Who is he? And I have more questions than I have answers. Does anyone want to contribute?
Oh gosh. The first thing I thought of was this man in the sweater is Pizza Pete from what I was saying before, whatever season he was on before. I don't know why. I just thought it was him, and the marinara and the pizza and the meatball. It just all kind of is like grossing me out and also annoying me. But
yeah, it's a lot happening on our screens. Yeah, we gotta move on. Thank you. Next. We'll move on to the next clip.
This news is about to change your lives forever. Get ready. To new adventures.
Okay. So we have the quote, "This news is about to change your lives forever," which feels like the same tone as the most dramatic season ever. It's always these big weighted statements. Does it hold up to that? We don't know. But this is something we haven't seen before, where he's addressing what feels like the live audience. Everyone has a glass of champagne. It feels very celebratory and like they're kind of a part of something. So my question is, what is this announcement? Do we think it's the next Bachelor? If so, what are people's predictions? And something I also want to point out, in the last kind of wide frame of this chunk, when we can see the backs of the guys, if you look at the screens closely, it shows the exterior of a cruise ship. So it's not the Bachelorette logo. It's this image of the cruise ship. So I'm like, is it all the audience members getting to go on the cruise ship? Is that the announcement? Are we seeing the screens at the end of the, season blooper reel, and maybe that ended on a scene of a cruise ship? I'm just wondering why it's not the logo on the screens and a ship. What are your thoughts on that, Morgan?
Yeah, well, I heard that everybody in attendance gets a free cruise, and I mean, they partnered with Virgin, throughout the season. Obviously, that's the cruise ship that they went on. And I would imagine that would be why everybody in the audience is so excited. And, Jesse does say at the end, to new adventures. So it all checks out. Obviously, I don't know if that is 100% correct, but I feel like it very much so fits the scene of what we're seeing.
Totally.
Yeah.
And
100%.
Kayla, if we're 100% wrong, and if it's not anything to do with the cruise ship, and they do announce the new Bachelor from the men who are there, so none of the current front runners that we don't know what happens, who would you pick from that group of men to be your next Bachelor?
Oh my gosh. Allison. Geez, I don't know. I mean, out of the group of men left here, not any of the final three. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It would be between maybe like Nate if he really does kind of redeem his whole controversy, so either Nate or I really would like Ethan. I would, but I still think either of them is too premature for them to like announce that they're the Bachelor. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Morgan and even yourself and say like I think it is a cruise. I think they're all getting
There we go.
a free cruise.
All right.
That's fire.
Well, bon voyage to our audience members because we are taking this preview to Mexico.
Here we go.
In 2 weeks,
Bienvenidos.
Gabby and Rachel take their journey for love to Mexico.
I am in love, and I've never been this happy.
Oof. Well, we are in Mexico for what looks like fantasy suites for those final proposals. This will probably be where their families come and meet the guys. We would love a good, tropical location. I don't know. Any kind of predictions? It's a really short clip. We'll move into the juicier stuff, but anything off the top of your heads, ladies?
I think the only thing that's tripping me up is that I can tell there's a little clip where someone's lifting up Gabby in a pool. I think it's Jason, but I don't really get why they're trying to cut him out of the shot. You know what I mean? Like he's like not really in it, and it's like they're trying to like hide him. And then that's the one thing I'm like, okay, wait, why don't they just show us who's lifting her up? Whereas everyone else, I don't know. I mean, I guess everyone else is getting wide shots, but it's like, why are they trying to edit it that way? But it looks really cute. I mean, Fantasy Suites looks like it's about to be really cute. And Rachel saying she's in love. Sorry. That was really it for me.
There we go. Yeah.
There we go.
Rachel's in love. Awesome. Shall we move into the next clip?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do it.
This is a moment during Clayton season where everything went haywire. Everything went off the wall. The last thing your dad said to me was that they don't like me. I'm scared to move forward because of what happened at hometown.
All right, so we see the two women discussing fantasy suites, saying that's where everything shifted during Clayton's season. We all remember, Susie was not happy with Clayton's actions during fantasy suites, ended up leaving. He was down to 2, ended up sending, it was just chaos. So Morgan, how do you think Gabby and Rachel are going to handle fantasy suites differently, having gone through that on Clayton's season?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, they probably now have, hindsight is 2020, where they can say, okay, I know how I felt when I was in this situation, so I'm not going to put anybody else through the same situation that I was in. Does that mean that, they won't utilize the fantasy suite to its fullity? I don't know. I do want to just mention that, a lot of the tension from this trailer comes between Rachel and Tino. Obviously, their home date was horrible. And if you've been reading anything online, Tino's dad is still saying some pretty crazy things on social media right now. So it's like if they end up together, I mean, one comment that Bachelor Data found from Tino's dad's Facebook page, somebody was like, I hope Tino wins. And Tino's dad says something along the lines of, I'm not sure how you could win, this show, or I just want my son to make it out. Kind of like along those lines. So it's like if they are together right now and Tino's dad is saying that kind of, it's just red flags everywhere. And I think Rachel has every right to obviously feel this way in the moment because things certainly have not gotten any better since then.
Totally. And that's a jarring statement, regardless of, I guess, if they end up together, if they're currently together, if they've split up at some point, those aren't comments that you would ever want from a potential father-in-law, like ever, let alone being put on the internet for other people to see. And I even thought some of his comments, at the house, I understand the hesitancy and the fears, but some of the comments he was giving Rachel during hometowns were things of, well, I'm trying to make sure this is like the right match for him, or he ends up with the right woman. It like really had nothing to do with the Bachelor format. It kind of felt like it was pointed at her. So Kayla, do you think that these doubts, these fears, how the hometowns went is going to make Rachel try harder for Tino? Obviously, she still confessed her love for him after the hometown dates, or is it going to result in her just walking away?
Wow. I don't see her walking away. I think she just might want more reassurance from Tino, because his response to the hometown date was not really a real response to the family. If anything, it was more like, I don't even know where he got it from that they adored her. But yeah, I don't think that was a real like, resolve of the issue. So I think she's going to want to kind of like still unpack it because they didn't really unpack it. So, but yeah, that's going to be tough. Like all what Morgan just said, like, I don't even know how they must be going through it. Like it's hard enough, I think, for couples who choose each other after the show, but like the fact that like his dad is still saying all these things, that might be really tough. But I don't know. I still think Rachel's going to go through with it with Tino. I just feel like he's just, I don't know. She just really wants him. I just feel like she wants him, So yeah. That's
I definitely think she's been set on him from the get-go. He was definitely her type.
Right.
And from everything we've learned from other Bachelor Nation leads, the process is so quick, and you kind of just like rest on who you were immediately attracted to, who's most like your type, who's most like the other people you've dated. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Let's move on to the next clip.
After Fantasy Suite, everything took like a 180. That was the last thing I could have ever expected.
I'm picturing a girl that like, I don't know if it's doing that with somebody else that crushes me.
So we see Zach saying that after Fantasy Suites, everything took a 180. And this conversation with Jesse Palmer has been teased from the original, season trailer. So we know later in this scene that Zach actually does get emotional. Jesse kind of asks him, what are you going to want to do? He says, I have to tell her. So Morgan, what do you think shifted a 180 for Zach? Is he kind of having a Susie moment? And do you think he's going to self-eliminate?
I mean, honestly, this is the point in the season where it starts to get real. Up until now, it's all rainbows and butterflies. You're on The Bachelorette. It's going to be so fun. You're on a national television show. Everyone's going to love you. And now you have to get engaged and potentially marry this person. And I feel like this always does happen at overnights where the gravity of the situation really hits contestants hard. And the fact that he says a 180, that kind of gives me that vibe, where he thought up until this point, everything was great and everything was going well and he could really see him with her. And then all of a sudden, oh crap, I have to ask her to be my wife. I don't know if I'm ready to do that. Do I think that he will self-eliminate? I kind of get that vibe. And from the beginning, I was a fan of Zach, but I was also afraid that this might happen because he's 25. And I know that it's different for everybody. I know that people get married when they're younger as well. This might be shady, but I don't think that every person that goes on The Bachelor is probably ready to be married at 25. It just is what it is. So that's my opinion. I'm sorry if that's shady, but I just had a feeling that something like this was going to end up happening.
Yeah. I mean, this show is so dramatic. We needed a little plot twist. And I feel like Zach has always been that like reliable comfort person for Rachel. I'm going to say this is going to take her by shock, but we've already seen so many tears from her at this point that it's just not going to be much new. Now, we also see that Eric says the thought of Gabby being with someone else crushes him. And Kayla, before I ask you a question about the Eric and Gabby of it all, I want to hear her response of this next clip of her getting really upset and crying.
He said he can't love me. He's like, am I too broken for anyone to love?
Gabby will not be joining you. You're going to be the only Bachelorette here.
So we see Eric tell her that. We then hear from Kayla. Kayla, you're on the show now. From Gabby, saying that he can't love me, and she's questioning if she's too broken to love. Now, it's kind of hard to see her shirt when Eric is talking to her. We know her hair is in kind of a similar bun between the two scenes. So I don't know. Is she talking about Eric? Does Eric step away? I don't know why him not wanting her to maybe sleep with other people results in him saying he can't love her. So maybe they are just two completely separate scenes that got spliced together. Kayla, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree with that take for sure. It definitely could be two scenes spliced together. I think I've seen this clip with them before where it looks like she does have some green on. So I don't think it's even like the same time. And I think I remember seeing her like walking away from him, which says to me that it's maybe not a fantasy suite and maybe a like final two. I don't know, but it could also be a fantasy suite. And maybe she's just like, oh, well, you don't want to go to the fantasy suite with me, then I guess I just got to go. But the other thing that's troubling me, again, I have to bring it up, is Jason is completely exempt from this promo. Like, I don't know where he is at all. Like, we do not see his face at all. So maybe it could be in the orange when she's crying, talking about, he said he can't love me. Although in my mind, I cannot think of one reason why Jason would ever say anything like that about Gabby. Maybe it's about him and they're trying to make it seem like it's about Eric. But yeah, the hair though, it's the same exact hair would be weird. So maybe this is daytime of fantasy suite with Eric. I don't know, Allison. I'm confused. I'm spiraling. I've been spiraling since Monday about this preview, this specific part. So
yeah, you have a good point, though, with the Jason of it all, because as we saw with Hometowns, he was trying to wrestle with himself of if he felt like he was really ready to take the next step. So maybe there's a chance that they do have a conversation like that. And maybe she is, interpreting his words herself by saying, he can't love me. Maybe she took it a step further and that's just how she feels about it. But definitely a good flag there. Morgan, we then see Jesse tell Rachel that Gabby will not be joining her and that she is the only Bachelorette there. Now, it's kind of impossible to know, is this right before proposals? Is this before we sit down with Neil Lane? Like, what, are we just going kayaking? Like, we don't know where she is and why she's not there. But do you think Gabby might just kind of up and leave either by herself, or maybe someone self-eliminates or goes home and she chases after them? It looks like Rachel's very, dressed up. She looks beautiful. So I think everyone was thinking maybe this was a proposal moment. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I can't remember for sure. I might just be forgetting, but to my memory, I don't remember in any promo seeing the proposal day. Normally we do see the lead on the beach by themselves getting ready to be proposed to. We didn't see that with either Rachel or Gabby. So I feel like if Gabby did go home early, which I'm going to just say that she does, they wouldn't show Rachel on the beach as well, because that gives it away. If they show Rachel on the beach getting ready to be proposed to and then nothing of Gabby, if they show that at the beginning of the season, fans are going to know, oh, they didn't show Gabby, on the beach. She didn't make it to the engagement portion. So that's my conspiracy theory. I think Gabby probably did go home early. I think she went home with somebody. I don't think she leaves single. But on Monday, I don't think she's going to be there.
Yeah, no, that's a great flag with the promo, because we've been even saying that since we've been breaking these down from the original season trailer. Like you said, we always get that kind of like ominous, beautiful standing at the beach. I remember Michelle's in that kind of, white or silvery gown waiting there with the rose. So yeah, we definitely have been missing that. And you're right. If there was just one of them, it would have been an obvious giveaway. But let's finish this trailer out and give our final thoughts.
I'm struggling because I want this to work, so it's hard, but I've given it nothing but the best.
It's all coming up.
Rachel is over it. She is emotional. It is too much. She has been giving it her all. Thank goodness this season is almost done and she can get a happy ending. Morgan, why don't you give your final thoughts, and then Kayla, and then we'll wrap this up.
Yeah, just piecing everything together that we've just gone through, it seems to me like this is probably that conversation after Zach tells her that he maybe had a 180. Like we've said, he was very much so front runner. So this level of heartbreak, I feel like, has to be for Zach. I've always thought that she was going to end up with Tino. I mean, I know we're not doing spoilers, but that's been my final rose guess from the beginning. And Gabby with Eric. So I'm saying strong in those predictions, but I don't know at all how it's going to shake out. It seems like it's going to be very chaotic, very emotional.
Yeah. So for me, my brain goes to the mid-season trailer where we heard Rachel say, after fantasy suites, you change your mind. Like she says something like that. And so I'm like, she definitely went to the fantasy suite with Zach. I think even earlier in this preview, we see like them standing at maybe like a window or something. He wraps his arms like from behind around her. So I think they go to the fantasy suite. And yeah, he wakes up the next morning and tells Jesse it's a 180, which is just so wild to me because we've seen Zach be so in love with Rachel. Like he's been saying falling in love since their date. So it's just crazy that what was it that made him completely turn around and change his mind? I don't know, but Rachel definitely doesn't deserve it. Sis has been going through it all season. And so getting that from Zach is going to be like such a blow to her because she's not going to see it coming from him, you know? So I hope that she still has Tino around. I hope the Tino stuff works out because she might only have Tino and Avon. But Avon, I don't really see it with Avon. I don't know. We didn't see much of him in this preview either, so I don't really know what to make of it. But yeah, my guess is also Tino Morgan. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah, Kayla, that's a good point. And she definitely had that heartbreaking moment of how do you change your mind after fantasy suites, which then just brings me back to we have to think through the order in which we do these fantasy suites. We watched it on Clayton's season. Susie was going last. Then it was devastating for her, you know, hearing that he had been doing fantasy suites up until that point. He'd had Gabby and Rachel in fantasy suites as well. So I think it'll be interesting to see, you know, does Zach go first and then offers up this like ultimatum of not wanting her to do fantasy suites with other people. And then at that point, she kind of just has to decide if she's willing to leave everyone for Zach. Does he go at the end and then does a 180 after realizing she did do an overnight with Tino? Like, and we just don't know. And I think the order really can change how the contestants are feeling. So we'll have to wait and see what happens next week with the Men Tell All and the following week when we are down in Mexico. But that is everything we have for you guys right now. Let us know your thoughts on this trailer and what you expect to see for the remainder of this season down in the comments below. And before you go, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on any Bachelorette updates. I'm Allison Van Dam, joined today by Morgan Wright and Kayla Thompson. Our social handles are on the screen right now. If you want to come give us a follow, come say hello. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.